Right now, if your head is pounding, you reach for a small white pill and forget about it in 20 minutes. But for most of human history, pain didn't just go away like that. People fought it with whatever the earth gave them. And the strangest part is, that pill in your medicine cabinet is basically the great-great-grandchild of a tree. For most of human history, pain was just something you endured: a broken bone, a fever, the ache of childbirth, with almost nothing to dull it. But somewhere along the way, people noticed something. Chew on the bitter bark of a willow tree, and the pain eased. Just a little. The earliest written record comes from Sumer, nearly 4,000 years ago. Clay tablets describing willow bark as a remedy for pain. Egyptian healers wrote it into their own medical scrolls too, using willow to treat aching, swollen joints. Around 400 BCE, the Greek physician Hippocrates went further. He told patients with fever and pain to chew willow bark directly, and he had women in labor drink a tea brewed from that same bark to take the edge of childbirth. For the next 1,000 years, that's basically where things stayed. A folk remedy, passed down, never fully explained. Then, in 1763, an English vicar named Edward Stone sent the Royal Society a report. For 5 years, he'd been drying and powdering willow bark, testing it systematically on patients with fevers, and carefully writing down what happened. It was one of the first times anyone treated an old folk cure like something actually worth measuring. 65 years later, in 1828, a German pharmacist named Johann Buchner finally isolated the active ingredient, bitter yellow crystals. He named them salicin, after the willow's Latin name, Salix. A few years after that, chemists found the exact same compound in a completely different plant, a delicate meadow flower called meadowsweet, or spirea. Salicin converts into something even stronger, salicylic acid. By the mid-1800s, chemists could make it in a lab, cheaply, without needing a single tree. There was just one problem: it tasted foul, and it tore up the stomach lining of anyone who took enough to actually feel relief. In 1853, a French chemist named Charles Gerhardt tried to fix that. He combined salicylic acid with acetyl chloride and got a gentler compound, but the process was messy, the results inconsistent, and Gerhardt moved on to other work. The formula sat unused for the next 40 years. In 1897, a young chemist at the German company Bayer picked it back up. His name was Felix Hoffmann. His own father had rheumatism and had been taking salicylic acid for years, barely able to stand the stomach pain it caused him. Hoffmann dug up Gerhardt's old notes, refined the process, and on August 10, 1897, produced a pure, stable version, acetyl salicylic acid. Bayer needed a name. They took the O for acetyl, added spur for spirea, the meadowsweet plant, and landed on aspirin. By 1899, it was trademarked and on sale, and it spread faster than almost any medicine before it. Strange footnote: in that same 2-week stretch, Hoffmann's lab synthesized another compound from the same line of research, heroin. Only one of them ended up in your medicine cabinet. In the century since, it's estimated that well over 1 trillion aspirin tablets have been swallowed worldwide. And here's the part that's almost funny. For over 70 years, nobody actually knew how it worked, not until 1971, when pharmacologist John Vane showed that aspirin blocks the production of prostaglandins, the molecules your body uses to signal pain and inflammation. That discovery won him a Nobel Prize in 1982. More than 2,000 years after Hippocrates first told a patient to chew on bark. So here's the full arc. A bitter tree bark, chewed by patients for thousands of years, without anyone knowing why it actually worked. One vicar who decided to actually test it. Chemists who isolated the active ingredient, then spent decades fighting its side effects. And one chemist trying to help his own father, who finally stabilized it into the pill sitting in your bathroom cabinet right now. So next time you take one for a headache, you're using a 3,000-year-old idea just finally finished.